I feel like something that took me a while to learn is that you should surround yourself with people who are more confrontational than passive. When I mean confrontational, I'm not saying someone who's like going to start a fight over everything, but someone who, if they're bothered by something that you're doing, or if they're, bothered in some way, they will say it and they will be open to having like a civil conversation about it. My passive friends that I've had in life, I feel like none of them have ever been able to surpass that barrier of being like friend to good friend, and that's because I feel like whenever we've tried to get closer, there's inevitably issues that always come up in some way. Like, it's really hard to love like everything about your friend and never to feel any type of like insecurity, or to never feel like there's something that you don't like about how things are going, and to never check in. Anyways, I find that passive friends, they tend to like harbor these negative feelings that they have about someone. They tend to create narratives in their head about the type of person that their friend is who they have issues with, and rather than nipping it in the bud, it just like continues to fester and accumulate, and then instead of like ever saying anything about it, they just like go ghost, or they like pull away. And in the culture, I feel like we talk about keeping our peace, we talk about not putting up with toxic behavior, but I also think pulling away from something because it's difficult, and especially if it's not like a deal breaker problem, I think pulling away is actually like also extremely toxic. And you'll notice that these people who are passive, who are so afraid of conflict and confrontation and sharing their feelings, they also tend to be the type of people who just aren't able to maintain long-term friendships. And if anything, they're the type of people to talk about their friends behind their back a lot because they just need some kind of venting mechanism, because they won't ever like address the actual problem. Again, passive people, I think it's fine to be friends with them. At least in my personal opinion, I think that like I can have really nice, sort of like frivolous friendships with passive people. But in terms of like people that I allow to have more access to me and who I want to be closer with, I have to trust that if they have an issue, we'll talk about it. If I have an issue, I can talk about it without it being like a pressure point. Because even if, there's nothing really tumultuous that happens, it's just the idea where I'm like, if there was something, like this could be fixed, easily. Yeah.